Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Microsoft Flight Simulator, and today we are discussing the newly released F-22 and its latest update. If you are interested in acquiring any of my Overkills tutorial guides for Microsoft Flight Simulator, please consider joining me on Patreon. Patreon subscribers level tier 2 and above have access to all of my guides, as well as any future updates and future guides that will be coming down the road. Link to Patreon can be found in the description below. Okay guys, so as I said, today we are finally discussing the F-22 from TopMach Studios. This is the premium version. First thing I want you guys to be aware of right off the bat is if you are currently using the freeware version and you decide to purchase the premium, be sure to delete the freeware first and then install the premium, otherwise you will run into some issues. And this is also stated in the documentation from TopMach Studios. Now, I know it's been out for almost a week now, and everyone's probably wondering, where my review's been. I know I said I was going to review it the day that it was released. Unfortunately, we did have a loss in the family, so that obviously has delayed things a little bit. The other thing that was going on is on the day of release, I was testing it and it had quite a few bugs with it that needed to be addressed. I felt it would have been unfair to do a review of it, or first impressions, whichever you want to call it, at that time. However, those issues have since been fixed as of today's update. So now we're going to finally take it up for a spin and show it here on YouTube. So first off, my impressions of the exterior textures are absolutely phenomenal. There's a couple of little weird spots, but nothing too crazy that stands out dramatically and makes me say, ew. So I'm not going to point those spots out. I do really appreciate all of the ground equipment that is associated with the aircraft, especially in a parked condition. The ladders, the covers, the surface locks, control surface locks, if you will, the intake and exhaust covers. I really love that kind of stuff. I think it really enhances that initial experience when you first jump into the cockpit. All of the texture work that was put into the ground equipment. You see the wheel chocks are all dirty and nasty. And then the wheels themselves and the overall appearance of the aircraft is very, very well done. I'm really, really impressed with it. Like I said, there's a couple spots, and if you spot them, great. If not, I'm not going to point them out. But there are a couple spots that take my attention and make me go, huh. But nothing too critical. So as I said, I'm not going to mention those. All in all, I think it is a very, very well done aircraft. What is happening back there? We have somebody who's a little bit of trouble over there. Someone should go over there and help him. I'll leave that to you guys. Jumping into the cockpit, same game, guys. A lot of attention and detail was clearly put into the creation of this cockpit. I know that it is not, I believe it is not one-to-one with the true design of the aircraft. Something I want you guys all to keep very, very close to your minds when flying this aircraft or doing a discovery as we are of this aircraft. This aircraft is extremely classified, guys, and how it does what it does is extremely classified. Everything to the performance of the aircraft, to the systems, to the nature of the way it's built, thrust vectoring. We know that it has thrust vectoring, but there is so much more than just the nozzles move when you pull the stick back. There's so much more to it, and a lot of that information again is under lock and key. So the developers had to do the best they could with the information that is publicly available, and also within the limitations of the sim. I can tell you right now, this simulator does not support thrust vectoring. I guarantee that was something that had to be written from the ground up into the best guesstimatation in order to implement the feature in the simulator. So please keep all of that information in mind, guys. It is amazing that this aircraft was even brought to us at all. I think it was a very courageous endeavor to bring out the F-22. People have mentioned even in DCS World if we would ever see a Raptor or the F-35, and Eagle Dynamics has basically said probably not, because we don't have access to the information in order to make it authentic, which makes sense. There's a reason why the Raptor is not allowed to be sold to any other country in the world. That is US and US alone. So just keep all that in mind as we go through that. I think that's a really important fact to bring in early on in this first impressions video. But as far as the detailing and the model working that was done with this aircraft, I'm absolutely amazed by it. I think there was a ton of effort and a ton of time very clearly put into this aircraft, and I really appreciate what they've done here. There's a lot of really awesome features within the aircraft. A lot of things can be adjusted through the payload. By the way, speaking of payload for a minute, I do want you guys all to know that essentially these are pacifist versions of the aircraft. The weapons bays can be loaded. The weapons bays can be opened. You can see the display of the weapons inside the aircraft. However, there is not any way to release any kind of ordnance. I know that that's something that you would think probably shouldn't have to be said in Microsoft Flight Simulator. It is not a combat sim, but there are people who tend to get their feathers in the ruffles over not being able to release weapons in Microsoft Flight Simulator. I think that because of the real world scenery and photogrammetry, I think that it would be absolutely inappropriate in Microsoft Flight Simulator to do so. Again, because of the nature and the status of the way the world is right now, I think it's good to keep things separate. You know, we want combat, we go to DCS world. We want to just enjoy a cool flight experience. If I'm in sort of an air show perspective is how I normally fly these jets, picturing myself doing an air show, or hey, you want to ride in a Raptor. You know, that's kind of where I put my mind when I fly any of the potentially combat aircraft. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and get her started up. Now you can see we have a cover guard here on the HUD, and how that's removed is I'm going to go ahead and clear the flight stick out of there, the side stick, and just flip the battery on and boom, everything is gone, comes to life very quickly. I don't know, I cannot speak to any realism, guys, so if there's any concerns about how quickly the systems came to life here or not, you know, I don't know. I'm going to set this back to the main menu. When you first launch the aircraft, this is about what you should see. And if you want to get into any kind of the configuration, what you'll do is come down here to the menu, you can go to config, and you have menu and sim. We're going to go to sim, and here's where you get rid of all of your external equipment. There's the chocks, there's the tags and plugs, and there's our ladder. You must remove the ladder in order to close the canopy. If you find yourself unable to close the canopy, chances are the ladder is still there, so just keep that in mind. Not that anyone you know might have gotten frustrated because he couldn't figure out why I couldn't close the canopy, but that wasn't me. You know, no, you can set your persistent options. Okay, these are going to be options that exist every time you start the aircraft, or let me back up, every time you load the aircraft. Okay, so much like the PMDG 737, you can go into the FMC and, you know, set your start configuration, you know, whether you want it cold and dark or you want it ready for taxi. You know, do you want the jetway or stairs? Similar thing that you can see here. Persistent options mean these are going to be everything that every time you load the aircraft. Do you want it cold and dark with the pilot visible? Do you want it cold and dark with the ladder? All that jazz, right? And even you can go over to page 2 and there's a few more. Do you want the drop tanks there? Or do you want to start with, you know, any weapons on or off the aircraft? So you have those options there. And here, you know, you can remove the weapons. So this is going to be per session. So we can come in here and add all this information if we want, or all these features, or we can, you know, disable them as well. Sorry if I ramble over my words, guys. Obviously, like I said, it's been kind of a hard week, and, you know, I'm just sort of trying to sidetrack here, so forgive me if I stumble a little bit. As far as navigation, they've actually done something pretty interesting. You know, I think I want to get back to that menu, and I think, or that view, and I think we'll squeeze in over here. I should probably actually add this. So let's add this one, because this is a big one. So if you want to add your own flight plan, they've done something kind of unique. They've kept it kind of hidden here, right? You can come over to this screen here, and you tap on the top button, and you get access to the G3000. Okay, so here you can enter your flight plan, and just like any other G3000 aircraft, you guys probably already know how to use this. It's very simple. So it does give you the option to add your waypoints and flight plans and all that good jazz directly from the aircraft itself. You don't have to preload it in the world map. That's typically my style. I like to come into the cockpit and do it. So it's very cool to see this. And then when you come back here, boom, you know, you're back to that military look, right? You get all that cool information there. Status, you have a couple different pieces of information here. Currently our generators are off, parking brakes on, and the canopy is open. Go back to our nav. Any alerts, again, going to be very similar to the status page. Any alerts during flight, anything like that would pop up on that page. Obviously you have your engine readouts, and here you can see you got 2 of the 4 screens are set to the same thing. You can switch those around as you choose. Coming down to that bottom one, however, if I can remember what screen I put it on, bear with me, guys. I'm sorry. There we go. If we go to control here, Here you have some start options. You can either do the electric start on each engine, or you can do a quick start, which will start both of them up. And that's what we're going to be doing here in just a minute. I'm going to be tapping it. I don't even think Control E works in this aircraft. We're not going to try it. We're just going to do it from here. Makes it real easy. Let's see if there's anything else that I really wanted to show you guys that was critical to... Okay, there's all your control surfaces. Okay, there's your... basically think of it as an HSI, and then you can change your display range with these two buttons here, and you can pop these up on any of the MFDs or multifunction color displays. I think is what they're called, MFCDs on this one. I could be wrong. They it seems to be different on every aircraft you go to and what they call them. Here is your engine displays, as well as your armament, as well as your countermeasure display. And then you can open the bomb bay doors from here, or I keep calling them bomb bay doors, weapons doors. And there you go. That's kind of cool. Okay, so that's how they would be loaded. You'd open those up to load them out. You can see the rack actually loads down. So they would load their weaponry onto them. Then the rack would load back into the bay, and then the bay doors would close. And it's really amazing how fast this happens in combat operations. If you guys have ever seen it like at an air show, this action happens very, very quickly when they're, well, not an air show, but it would be like on YouTube or something. The weapons release on the F-22 and even on the F-35, it uses the same principle, is very, very quick. They open, that rack comes out, weapons release, and then boom, the doors are closed, like almost just as fast. It's crazy how quickly they operate. Really amazing. But so a lot of attention was given to the detail of this aircraft and its performance. Let's come up here just a little bit. And you know what? I think I'll do another one. Control-Alt-6. And so here you have your comms, your nav radios, your steer points if you want to switch steer points, bearing information, range. A lot of really cool information displayed on this. IFF, identify friend or foe. I can't imagine we're going to be using that relatively often here. Let's see here, your altitude settings, barometric, mean sea level. The HUD display, whether or not you want an air-to-air mode, air-to-ground mode, nav mode, or caged. What caged will do in a combat scenario, or in a, I should say, in a... fully modeled combat aircraft, I guess. What cage does, so you have the HSI, or the VVI, velocity vector indicator, your flight path marker is the way to think about it, and your pitch scale. With the wind information, when the aircraft is in a wind situation and the HUD is uncaged, these will actually move according to the slip of the aircraft, right? So even though the aircraft is pointed one direction, if its flight path is actually heading over here, even though we're pointed here, we're going there, just like any other wind, right? Any other crosswind, any kind of slip that's being caused. The pitch scale and the flight path indicator will actually move off to the left or right side of the HUD based on that wind information. And so what you do is you cage it to keep it in the center. Okay, caging it will keep all of this information right here in the center of the HUD. I don't know if cage... Maybe that does work. That's interesting. Cool. And then you have your wind and speed direction, speed information up here. You got your heading tape up here. You have your horizon line. Again, you guys, we talked about the little circle is the flight path indicator. The W, if you will, there, or watermark, a lot of people call it, is called the aircraft datum. What that does is a representation of where the actual nose of the aircraft is pointed. Never mistake that for where you're actually flying to. All that does is give you a reference of the angle of the nose. It has nothing to do with where the aircraft is actually going to end up. That's what your flight path marker, or VVI, is for. Wherever this circle is on, that's where the aircraft's going to wind up. So if that circle is on a building, you might want to adjust your course. Okay, here we have our ground speed, true airspeed, our Mach, our current G load on the aircraft, current angle of attack, or AOA. Let's see here, current altitude according to sea level. Let's set our barometric pressure. We'll just tap the B key, that still works. Let's see here. I believe one of these is the radar altimeter and the other one is vertical velocity. And then obviously here we have our airspeed. And then you have your pitch scale and bank angle down here at the bottom. So really nicely modeled. They've really done a great job here. On the other page, you have a couple of different options that you can take a look at. You can run your fuel readings, your bit tests, timer, and temperatures. And I don't know what that one does. I don't know that does anything for us. So anyway, let's just set it back to calm where it was. And now let's go ahead and get the aircraft started. Let's go flying. All right, let's go ahead and get her started now. So I'm going to show you guys at least the way that I do it. I guess we can come out of here. Let's go back to the MMD here. There we go. And on this one, I'm going to come down and go to Menu, go to Engine, and we'll just do Quick Start. Just give that a tap, and off she goes. And I'll let you guys listen to the sound, so I'll keep myself quiet for a minute. Alright, so it looks like we have both engines up and running now. Next thing we can do is come down and take a look at lights. Oh, sorry, gotta adjust my camera there. Here you have all of your interior lights and how you want to set them. They're going to be just on the left side of that throttle there. And then here we have our exterior. So let's go position lights, anti-collision lights, position lights flash. We'll do that until we're clear of takeoff here. The other thing that you're going to want to do is go to your status page. You can see Gen 1 and Gen 2 are still off, and those are going to be these two switches right here. There's one. There's two. And good to go. We need to close our canopy. We're just going to give our canopy a tap here, and she'll come down. And the APU switches is right here. Go ahead and shut that off now. And then finally their taxi light. We're going to find that right here. And we're going to release the parking brake with this switch right here. And let's go fly an F-22 Raptor. Ground handling is absolutely perfect. Absolutely perfect. I'm going to need you to move there, little fella. We're going to have to deviate from our course here. I know we can just go right through them, but it just, I don't know, immersion killer, I guess. Not that this is much better, but, you know, at least we went around them. It's very easy to steer the aircraft. Maintaining our speed is super easy. Although she is wanting to pull to the left or to the right a lot right now. I'm not sure why. Both engines are rotating equally. Just wanted to make sure of that. So I'm not sure why we're getting steered to the right so bad. I don't feel like we should have any, that's what I'm looking for. Asymmetrical thrust going on. So I'm not sure what's pushing us to the right. But that's okay. Again, could be my controls. Never know. Wouldn't be the first time. But I really like the sound so far. And the latest update, like I said, resolved a couple of issues. So, I mean, the aircraft definitely seems to be in perfect operating conditions now. We're out here at Nellis Air Force Base in Nevada, and I'm worried that I missed my turn. No, I think that's it right there. It's kind of weird the way that taxi line worked there. Uh-oh, I think I did. I think I totally did. I think I zigged when I should have zagged, guys. This looks like a parking spot for a much larger aircraft. Why are we stuttering so bad? Alright, well, I have to back taxi because clearly I didn't look at things, so I'll catch you guys when I come back around. Alright, so now we are on the runway. Get our landing light turned on. Step outside. We're going to do a quick control surfaces check here. And the flaps are strictly based on AOA, weight, speed. They're completely automatic in this aircraft, so you don't have to worry about setting flaps. Speed brakes are going to be on your tail here. You can see how that's speed brakes engaged, disengaged. Elevators. I wonder what these control surfaces on the back are. Huh. Everything's working. Everything seems to be good. Alright, let's fly, guys. And there's the uncage. You can see how it's how we were talking about earlier. 130 knots. We should be good to rotate. Alright, let it slip into the wind now. And you see if I add right rudder, notice what the HUD and the vertical velocity or the velocity vector indicator do, how they're off to the left side here. That's what I was referring to about it being caged and uncaged. So now if we go back, where was that? If I select caged, it locks it back in the center. So it's really up to you how you guys choose that you want to fly. Let me get that gear up. Been talking too much. Good sounds on the gear. And let's go outside and take a peek at her. Looking good. Took a little screenshot there. That's a very touchy aircraft, which is to be expected. I'm sure there's some curvature that could be adjusted and to smooth it out, but very, very touchy. You can see we're already approaching Mach speed, just under it. And I don't even think we have the afterburners on. Let's light them up. Afterburners look very good. Airspeed. 700 knots. We even got a warning with it. How about that? Let's go tear tail through this canyon here. See what that's like. We'll check out a climb rate. See what trouble we can get into. You do get this indicator down here when the afterburners are lit. Yeah, we definitely got low altitude. Oof, she's so touchy. Very touchy. You can see the vaporing coming off the control surfaces there. And we got to be close to a stall here. See how quickly we recover from it. Go full power. Bring the nose down a bit. Already back at 140 knots, 160 knots, and we're clear to navigate. So you can have a lot of fun with this aircraft. There's definitely a lot you could do with it. Now, let's see how she climbs, shall we? A little bit of airspeed, just so we can be a bit of a show off. There's 500 knots coming up. Probably a lot harder than I needed to. It's just about 90 degrees there. Passing through 25,000, still 400 knots. 30,000, coming up at 300 knots. True airspeed still showing 500. There's 40,000 feet. Gonna start rolling her back. 45,000. Let's bring her over the top. Oh, we're on Joker fuel. Oops. So you have two types of fuel. You have Bingo and Joker. Bingo comes first, then Joker, and typically once you hit Joker, it's a bad day. So we're going to pull some power back. But there we go, 51,000 feet in a matter of seconds without any concern whatsoever. Look at that. I believe the simulation has a service ceilings of just under 60,000 feet. But in a matter of seconds, almost to the stars. Center the camera. There we go. Look at that. Definitely get some wicked views in this thing, guys. Now, to get us home quickly, because I actually don't remember, I don't want to be guessing too much. Let's do this. So let's add a destination, and you know, I don't remember what Nellis's ICAO is, but I know Las Vegas, and that'll get us close enough. So, and boom, there we go, right there. Got it. All right. So now we can just go back to the home page, come back here, go to nav. And let's see here. Let's do range out. So we're displaying 80 miles. All right, and KSLV or KLSV. I think that's it. All right, let's turn it back home. And you got our waypoint indicators, that little arrow that we just saw. And the nice thing is we can basically pull the throttles back to idle and just let her descend under idle. We have tons of altitude and not a ton of distance to go. Look at that. There it is. There's Vegas. Isn't that cool? Too cool, man. Wow. Like a breeze. I do like the Raptor. I love the way it looks. Very cool airplane. Let's see here. I don't want to go to McCarran. McCarran should be... Oh, there's McCarran. I think Nellis is back over there. Back over there, or is it underneath me? I gotta get my bearings here. Let me see. What direction are we facing? What's our heading? 097. So the Nellis, yeah, should be over there. And there it is. I see it. Okay, cool. We will start turning towards. Yep, there's the strip. We should probably check on our fuel state. Menu fuel. Oh yeah, she's low. Oops. Reduce our descent rate here a little bit. Sort of let it glide down to, or slow itself down to 250 knots. Keep using that airspeed to bleed out. I don't know why I'm getting such bad stuttering over the city. This is the new development. I didn't used to stutter at all. I don't know what's going on. It's only happened in the last few days. The last few times I've tried to fly out of here, it started doing that. I don't know why. It's kind of frustrating, to be honest. Trying to think if I have anything open that might be causing a problem, but I don't see anything. Huh, I don't know. Yeah, I know. I just checked my graphics settings in case maybe I missed something, but... And I think it was just here. I think it's just here in Vegas that I'm having an issue with. Let's double check our barometric pressure. Landing light's still set. Probably should have turned that off, but... Oh well, can't win them all. And I believe landing speed for this, based on current weight, we should be looking about 130 knots. Maybe a little less. Since I bled all the fuel right out of it. And I can tell you from previous tests, you will get a sonic boom. If you do like a flyby view kind of thing, you know, put the drone camera somewhere and then zip past it above Mach speed, you do get a nice boom. It's actually really, really good sounding. They did a good job with the Mach sound. There we go. And again, just staying at idle the whole darn way here, but we are a little fast, so I'm going to pop them speed brakes a little bit. See if I can get us down to a steady 200 knots. Nothing too crazy. Alright, bringing the speed brakes in. There we go. Perfect. Climbing a little bit, nothing too crazy. Alright. So now I'm going to start turning towards here. I'm going to drop that gear. Still staying at idle here for now. Flies beautifully. Very easy to predict, very easy to control. Just add a little power to get through the turn, that's all. Ooh, little bounce. That was my bad. And she'll hold the aerodynamic braking all the way through, so I mean, I'll be surprised if the nose is actually down. I didn't feel it come down. Nope, nose is up. There she goes. Just came down. Whoa, baby. Bad time to switch camera views. Let's get us off the runway. Alright, let's lock her down here. Speed brakes are retracted. And simple enough, it's just going back to the taxi light at this point, taking her, parking her, shutting it down. This is a really, really good aircraft, guys, and I'm going to have a link to it down in the description below. It's a ton of fun to fly. It's got some really neat features to it. It feels good. You can have a lot of fun with it. That climb up to 55,000 feet, that was actually pretty cool. I wasn't expecting that. Was the first time I pushed it to that limit. Bringing it back down, it was just like gliding. It was very smooth, very easy. Now, there are two versions. You have the fly-by-wire version, which is what we flew, and then you have the no fly-by-wire version. And I believe the no fly-by-wire version is designed for, you know, keyboard holders and things like that. You do want to make sure that if you are using the no fly-by-wire version, that you also do always set your flaps to 0. Again, let the computer take care of the flaps. The flaps are automatically set based on the aircraft's weight, airspeed, AOA, etc. But this is a really, really neat aircraft. You know, with the aerodynamic braking that we were using on touchdown, I was not holding the stick back. I just left the AOA as it was when the main wheels touched down. Came down a little hard, but again, you know, this was without looking at any documentation on how to land the aircraft. I was just sort of feeling it and seeing what it was like and seeing if you could pick up what it was doing. And for the most part, you really can. I think I probably should have started my approach a little longer for the first time bringing it in. That was my first landing in the aircraft, and I was really impressed with it. The controls response aren't ridiculous. It's just a matter of getting used to it. It's obviously an air superiority fighter. I mean, she's a beast. So she's going to be high performing. She's going to be real quick on the responses. But it wasn't out of control. It was still very easy to manage. At no point did I feel like the aircraft was flying on rails. I don't feel like that it's spring loaded or anything. It was very, very smooth. Every action that I did with it felt like I was flying a fighter. It hauled tail. It maintained its airspeed when it should. It lost it when it should. Really, really had a good time with this aircraft, and I'm really pleased with my purchase. And I also do want to make that very clear. This aircraft was not donated or anything like that. I did buy it with my own money. So all the opinions you're getting, guys, are mine and mine alone. So I hope this helps you guys make a decision on the F-22 Raptor premium version from TopMach Studios. To TopMach Studios, I think you guys have done a wonderful job, and I look forward to seeing any further development with the aircraft or what you guys come out with next. As always, guys, stay safe and healthy. Keep your loved ones close, folks. Please do that for me. And I'll see you in the next one.